Hi guys, my name is Jason Brubaker, and today I'm going to color this spread right here for you. I'm going to go from start to finish, and hopefully within an hour. And I have a different technique than I did on my last video series on coloring. And sometimes I do this technique, and sometimes I do it other ways. It just depends on what the scene is and what kind of effect I'm going for. So let's get started, shall we? I'll just move this out of the way. All right. Here we go. So these are the flats. Well, let's see. So there's my line art. Here's the flats that I was given back. And my line art actually, you know, it has some missing elements because my paper wasn't that big. But I just merged the sketches into the line art when I delivered it to my flatter. So there's some extra stuff I'll have to deal with up here in the corner in the background, but it won't really affect me too much. So let me just show you a page that I'm going to try to match or get it similar to. So this is kind of what I'm going for, and this technique that I use on this, that I'm using on this scene, is something I learned at DreamWorks. You see these really amazing paintings at DreamWorks, and there's like this incredible control over the lighting and the shadow and different colors for, you know, skin color in the shadow versus skin color in the lights. And I would notice there would be these amazing like transitions between those light and dark colors. And in talking to some artists there, I learned this technique, and I'll show it to you today because it works really good in a lot of situations. So first thing I'm going to do this time is I'm going to drag over my textures. So usually I don't do that at the start, but we're going to do it this time. And let's see. I might shrink these down a little bit because they're kind of big and blurry in some places. So I'm just kind of positioning the textures so that they kind of go with the table. And I'll just duplicate this one and move it up here so it kind of fills that space. Let's see, I will rotate this a little bit so that if anyone is paying attention between panels, between pages, they will not see that I'm just using the same texture because it's in the exact same spot. So there we go. So that looks pretty good as far as the textures covering everything and not being too obnoxious. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just bring this page in here. I'm going to turn off my textures. What's going on? Okay, turn off my textures, my glows, and I'm going to just reference this real quick to get a couple pieces right. And let's see, these pieces are going to be the chairs. Oops. What's going on? All right, something's going down. Oh, it was referencing the mask for some reason. Oh, because I was on the mask. Duh. Okay, so I'm going to get this color of these chairs and just drop them in here. And I'm also going to get the color of the glass. Drop it in here. So that looks good. What other colors do I need to match? Oh, Band-Aids. Adjust those real quick. And I think that's fine. These glasses are kind of bright, so I'll just use hue saturation to get them a little bit more gray value. They're not green, it's just, it doesn't really matter what color they are. So that looks pretty good to me. We got some up here, you'll see, oops. Up here you'll see in my sketch there's a lot of like other stuff up there, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, so I'm going to turn all this back on. And move this off screen. Okay. So now we have our light. This we will call our light pass. It's our flats, but I'm pretty content with it as is. I might delete these background parts so that it's transparent there in the background. But that's a wall, so I won't delete that. And so we have our light pass, and what I do is I just hold down Option Command, or Alt Command, I guess. Maybe PC's Alt Command, maybe. But on Mac, it's Option Command. And when I'm hovering over my layer, you see it makes that little selection tool. So I just push down, and then I just drag it up, and it's basically made a copy. So I'll title this Darks. And then now I'm going to match the dark layers. And the first time you do this, you have to just, figure out what colors you want to do. But now that I've figured out what colors I want to do for the dark layers, it's just a matter of matching this for each spread that's in this scene. So here's my darks that I'm matching. And what I'm going to do is Command U again, hue saturation. I'll hit the colorize button right here. So it pushes it all into a color hue. You can adjust this hue, and it will all be a different hue. But all the the little nuances of those colors, like the saturation and lightness, are still there. So we're pushing it over into this bluish color. And it needs to be a little darker. Let's see, it might need a little bit more cyan in it. So I think that's it. Let's turn off the lines. That's pretty close anyway. So now that we have that, oops, it's not what I wanted to do. Now that we have that, we will turn that all back on. And you can kind of get a hint at what I'm doing here now that you've seen the finished other page and then this. So we have our darks and we have our lights. And real quick, I'm going to just make a layer above the lights, title this Glow. And now I'm not doing anything that I've done. This isn't necessarily what I do for every page. I guess you could say I rarely do this method, but when I do, it's for a specific purpose and a certain mood and a certain color palette. And there was a couple key scenes in Remind that I did this, where Vittles was down fighting lizardmen in the air conduits, and there was a real prominent dark color and there was a real prominent light color. And then what I'm going to do is mask in between the two. And that's basically all I did. And it makes it really easy to color, really fast. And anyway, so what I did was I just painted this orange over top of the lights, and I'm going to put this on linear dodge. So it kind of makes it real light. So now we have a real bright light pass, and then we have a really dark bluey blue pass. And our textures over top of that, obviously. And so now I'm just going to take this dark pass, put a mask on it. Down here is a mask. So now we have our mask over the darks, and we can start painting where we want the light and where we want the darks. So I'll just start with some basic things like, let's do the table and everything on the table. I'm hitting Q to do a quick mask again. Okay, I'm just going to hit this all so that it shines through. So see, when you're using this mask, I'll deselect. When you're using this mask, everything that's black becomes transparent, and everything that's white becomes opaque. So what's neat about it is you can use airbrushes, and you can airbrush slightly between the two. And so all those colors on the darks transition smoothly into the colors of the lights. So I'll give you a nice example right now. So I'm just going to paint some shadows down here, some shadows under these, whatever this is, Weeble food. And I'm going really fast, but that's just the way I work. I like going faster because it seems to look better with my stuff. And you know, I can noodle something forever and it doesn't seem to make a difference. At the end of the day, it might look better, but usually it's like, yeah, it just looks like you worked at it a lot longer. You labored over this thing longer than you needed to. Whereas if I could kind of just go through it and just really quickly lay in colors and stuff, it's like, man, sometimes it looks better than stuff that's labored over. So anyway, so I'm just kind of throwing down some real kind of basics right now. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep this. It's basic, but you know, if it looks good, then this is what it will be. So kind of doing some cast shadows of the forks. Maybe try to figure out a cast shadow of his hand here. And we'll just, I don't know, maybe okay, so if I hit X, this white and black paintbrush switches. So, you know, because we're using this, we're painting on this mask, we're not painting on the actual layer here. We're painting on this mask layer only. Make sure to do that. This mask has to be selected. Otherwise, we're basically just screwing up our layer. Let me get this full screen. Okay. So I'm just kind of going back over this and painting back out. Now watch this, you know, when I turn on the textures, suddenly it's like it adds another depth layer to my sloppy painting, and it suddenly kind of looks like, oh yeah, he meant to do that, right? So it's just a matter of like going in and going between this mask, painting on this mask layer now, and you can get a lot of your shadows in there. Shadows and lights and darks, and stuff. Sometimes the texture brings out different things that, you know, I wasn't expecting. Like it changed the shadow from here to here a little bit. So I just darkened this up a little bit to match it. So let's just keep going now. Let's just start adding all kinds of shadow and light and kind of pushing and pulling. There's the glass, right? And so, okay, let's start working on these guys. Let's start working on Dino's light. So I'm just going to use that same kind of paintbrush, and you know, I'm not painting this color. All I'm doing is painting black on that mask, and we'll just kind of start pushing and pulling. Try to get this close. Anyone who's like a really good professional artist will recognize right away that I am just a total hack. I am like, I'm not doing anything that's like, that shows that I have a real good sense of how lighting falls on a face. You know, like there's artists that can just like paint a couple strokes and the light looks perfect, and you know, it defines the cheekbones and all that stuff. I don't feel like I have the grasp of that very good. So I'm kind of just, I'm cheating. I guess I'm just doing a lot of cheating when I do my coloring. And but you know, it looks, at the end of the day, as long as it conveys a certain mood, I feel like it's what I want it to be, you know. So now I could learn so much more with color, but I don't know if I don't know if I'll actually take any more, you know, like intensive classes on coloring and stuff like that. I really should. I should like try to do some actual painting, like plein air painting and stuff, but I don't know. I don't really enjoy that, so maybe I won't ever do it. Anyway, but that would help, right? That would help figuring all this stuff out. But don't know if it'll happen. It's the problem with like learning Photoshop and all these techniques. It's like you kind of like suddenly don't feel like you need to put in the time to learn like certain color theory and stuff anymore. Anyway, but you know, I never learned color theory. I learned it all on the job, I guess, and I don't feel like I have a full-on grasp of it really, but I do know what I feel like looks good together, and that's kind of what I focus on, is just like, what do I like, you know, what's the thing that I like how it looks, and I'll just kind of do that. And that's why you see in my comics, like if you kind of look at them globally, you'll see that I kind of start one book on a certain color tone, and throughout the course of that book it transitions into another color tone. And it's kind of because I like a different color palette that I've discovered, and so I just go with it, you know. So again, I'm just adding and subtracting from the mask just by pushing X to change the whether I'm adding or subtracting. You know, the X again changes this pleasant dark blah. The X changes this to white or black, and I just paint in shadows or hit X and paint in light. because it's just only doing this. It's only this, the layer that I'm working on. This is the only layer I've been working on this whole time. So that is the trick. That is the trick. And so you can kind of get, as long as you get your dark, sorry, as long as you get your dark color palette the way you want it, and your light color palette the way you want it, then you can just sit here and do this, and it looks like it's a beautiful finished painting by the time you're done with it, because it's all these nice gradients and variations. And let's see, we'll just do, now this is a lot more painterly than I have been going with Cithra, but this scene was really moody, and so I wanted to just have it kind of be a couple colors, and so I started doing it with this technique, and then I realized, well, it's not really a couple colors anymore, but it is a couple hues, I guess, that it's focused on. And it actually works pretty good. It actually looks good, I think. I'm gonna go to an airbrush kind of to make this a little softer here. I don't know if that's what I want. That looks good. So, I don't know. I'm kind of just experimenting. I'm kind of guessing at what looks good. And you know, I get in there real close, and then when I zoom out, I'm like, oh wait, that's not quite what I want. But I can keep changing it until I get it right. And don't ask me what brush this is. I don't know where I got it or what it is. It's just one that I just found in my little brush catalog. It might be something that comes with Photoshop, but I just don't know. So now his face is a little greenish, so it could be this. And so what I'll do is I'll just select his skin color from this light flats, and I'll go up to this glow, and I'll hit the hue saturation, and I'll just push it into a little bit more of a reddish skin color. And I probably will still put a color behind him. But this will be something I'll do a little different, because I'll do it on a background layer. Okay, so there. I put in this color behind everything, and basically these glows are making that color look like that. So I'll select all the background now, and I'm going to just paint it all. Painted all this glow, and then maybe we will take away from that, kind of like globally. Because there's light above them, and so that looks good. We'll just do this all. What am I doing? Oh, right here. What is going on? I'm doing something totally weird. Oh, I'm using the eraser. Not the eraser. Okay. So I just filled that all in. I might just erase a little bit. Or maybe a little bit up here. There. That's fine. The nice thing is it's a big grad, but I can select it real easily with my flats. So I can totally adjust those later. And let's see, I want to do something with this. space here. I think I'll just delete those. Should I do that? Yeah, okay. So it's just the white, the lighter layer that we're seeing because I deleted these white lines off of the dark layer. So there you go. So we're getting close. Let's see how long have we been going. So you can see how fast this goes. We've been only going out of this for 26 minutes. 25 minutes maybe, minus all the talking. So we'll just go back here, go back to our dark layer mask, Get our nice brush that we like using, whichever one that is, and just continue to keep painting this stuff out. Painting the highlights in, however we think they will work, you know, whatever we think looks best. And just keep pushing and pulling. Oops. Pushing and pulling. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but I just mean painting with lights and darks. Lights and darks. Happy little lights, happy little darks, as Bob Ross would have probably said. So let's get this guy's lights going up here. I might make this a little bit more transparent. No, or not so much pressure or something. Flow, not so much flow. Maybe I'll do flow, but bring down the opacity. Well, then I can't go all the way. I can't push it as hard as I would like to. Okay, that's not good. Sometimes when you bring down the flow, it's like you have a textured brush and the textures kind of get really obvious. So that's the only reason I was messing with that. Now I don't like getting into super like specific, you know, shading and stuff, and so sometimes when I find myself getting too crazy with it, I just kind of back up and just go really big broad strokes, because to me, like this looks just as good as if I were to go in there and make every crevice look right, you know, like that's not right, but it looks pleasing, you know, and so it's not necessarily how the light would shine probably on him. It's not probably correct anatomy. It's not definitely not correct anatomy, but it looks the way I, you know, it looks nice to me. So I'm always kind of just like catching myself when I slow down too much, and I just kind of like have to force myself to kind of speed up. Excuse me, that was a hiccup. Yes, I just ate some dinner. No, I mean lunch. Okay, we will just continue going here. See, I might do something with this background. I'll focus on that later, actually. I'm going to paint in a little bit of this. So you see the girl walking off, Vana walking off in the background. And there's nice moonlighting beams and stuff like that. I'm going to try to paint that sort of thing into this shot too. But we'll worry about that later. Okay, so back to the painting. I will select all the background and I will invert it. Inverse my selection so that now I'm only painting characters basically. Okay, characters in foreground. So I think I want something interesting with him where maybe, oops, did I mess that up? No. Maybe I will have it be like light is hitting him from a side as he's walking. I don't know. His bum looks kind of funny. It's my drawing. It's my drawing. I'm sorry. I'm going to hide this selection. Command H hides it so it's not so annoying with all the little, you know, whatever you call it, little ants. Somebody calls it little ants walking around your selection. I've never used that term until now. Now I use it all the time. No, I don't. I never use it except for when I'm recording a video for some reason. Okay, so I might change this though because I don't think that helps the composition much. And I'm going to have the windows going diagonally in the background anyway, so I might try doing it the other way. Or who knows, maybe we'll just go up a little higher. So it kind of, you know, this at least shows that he's kind of stepping into shadow now. So it's kind of, you know, it's for me, it's about the big shapes, you know. If I can get these big shapes to work, then I'm happy with it. If I can't, then I keep working it. And it can be sloppy. It doesn't need to be clean as long as the overall read is what I would want it to be. You know, it's as long as the overall read is clear. So let's see, we'll get some light on the front of these chairs. On the top edge. That doesn't quite make sense. But let's see, the light source is kind of above them, so maybe I'll just cut this down a little. I might end up lightening up those shadows in other panels. I'm looking at other panels trying to see what I did, and some of them I had kind of a lighter face. So what I'll just do is this. Let's see. I might be wasting my time, but what am I doing? I'm painting the wrong thing. Okay. There. Okay, we'll leave it like that for now. I need to go and reselect all the background. Again. No. Invert it. Go back to my layer with a mask. And his pants aren't going to be pink like that, but that's the lighting, my funny glow lighting, so I'll adjust that later. So we have a bunch of these shadows kind of already done. We'll just go in and do the light on Mr. Henry here, because that is his name. Let me get rid of these chairs in my selection. Get rid of those so I don't mess up that nice grad that I did there. Okay, and we'll just, oh, his hair isn't selected. Let me select his hair. Contiguous makes it just so that it only selects that one bit in case there's that same color somewhere else. Apparently there was that same color somewhere else. And so that's why I deselected it on accident. Maybe that's why. Okay, we'll just paint in some quick painted lines here. Maybe paint out, paint out his glasses where his glasses are hitting. Back and forth, some lights, some darks, lights, darks, lights, darks. Back of his neck, back of his shirt. Let's just do this real quick. See how that transition is just really neat between the certain colors. So what's neat about this technique is you can color like your lights and darks completely different colors, you know? For instance, like red. Here, I'll show you another one I worked on. For instance, red here in this tattoo on his arm is in this middle panel. I have the dark shadow part of it be solid black, and then the light part of it be the color red, the color of the tattoo. And I learned that, you know, if you have a red object at night, it looks black. And so it's not just a darker version of red, it's actually black. And so there's a real control you can do in these transitions, because you can go in and say, well, the light version of this color needs to be more in the pinks, and the dark version needs to be more in the greens, you know, and so, and you can do that all after the fact too. So that is what is really fun to do, is just go in there and really refine those colors. Let's see these suspenders. Any suspender wearers out there? Oh yeah, sporting mine right now. Just joking. I totally don't wear suspenders, but my grandpa did. He loved them. Well, I don't know if he loved them, but he wore them all the time. So let's just keep going here. I'm slowing down. I need to stop slowing down. Stop talking. I need to stop talking and work. So, get a little bit more shadows. And I think we are pretty good with that dude. I guess I gotta do this one here. With the glasses, I've been kind of experimenting with coloring the line work a little more bluish, and it's been working out pretty good. But I'll have to still experiment with it, you know. Kind of has like the bags under his eyes that are hit by the light. Sometimes I make this all bright, but I think I'm going to do it kind of more shadowed this time on this panel because I want him to kind of look suspicious. Not that he's suspicious necessarily, but that he's looking suspiciously at, suspiciously at Dino. Because Dino just kind of was like, nothing, I need to get out of here, bye. He left. He just put down his free food and left. So you know something's wrong. Can't leave free food. So I wanted Henry to have this kind of suspicious look on his face. And I think he looks suspicious, but if I have any kind of a more ominous lighting, then it will be even more suspicious. Okay. Now these glasses, I don't know what to do with them. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to deselect my selection that I've been working with. Then I can go in and actually select specific things and refine what they look like. I'll hide it still. See what happens if I put like a some sort of, I don't know, rim light on these glasses. Maybe not. Maybe I should try a airbrush. And it looks to me like I need to fix some of my line work too. Okay, well, it still looks funny. These glasses are weird because I really do make them different almost every time. So let's see. What I'm gonna do, take these lines, do what I did in the last coloring video, select the RGB, go back, make a new inks layer, invert my selection, then fill that in, delete my lines that have the white in them, and now I have the same thing but with an alpha. And then I can go in and clean up these lines easier, and it doesn't require as much back and forth like fixing whites, and I can also paint on the lines themselves, which is a nice thing to be able to do. So I'll go and clean up all this stuff here. Just delete it, basically. Some of my paper is kind of showing up. So you guys maybe know that well, I guess I haven't made a video on it, but I print out all my sketches from the Cintiq on a real light color. All the lines, I adjust them so they're like a cyan, and I print them out really light, and then I ink straight over them on photocopy paper, and then I scan them back in after I've inked it, and then I can just key out that color, that magenta color. And for the most part, it works really good. Sometimes it leaves a little crusties, and sometimes it's just operation failure. Operator error. Yeah, that's it. Operator error. So, like for instance, I noticed here there's a lot of, you can see this little faded with these word balloons because they were in the sketch, and I wasn't able to key out that color very good apparently on this page, or I didn't try very hard to key it out. So you can still see those little word balloons. You wouldn't be able to really see them, you know, unless I pointed them out, probably, because that'll be covered up by word balloons anyway. There's another one here. Okay. But that's that. Okay. Back to coloring. Let's see, what was I doing? Okay. Might just continue cleaning these up just a little bit more. And then I will switch to the next little phase. Oh wait, let's do this real quick. Glasses, title that glasses. I'll just select dark blue. Get a hard brush. And I'm basically just painting on a layer above the lines. And I made it so that it is, whatever this is, it's, forget what that's called. Where it's only, this layer is only affecting what's underneath it, what's visible. So that's what I painted. But then when I do this, I hold down Option to do this, right in between the two layers. And it locks it to the lines. See? So I got that in there. I might just do a little nice shine on the glasses. It's 9. That's not how you spell shine. Anyway. Or maybe I'm gonna just try this real quick. I don't know if this is what I'll end up doing. But something like that, something to that nature. I'll just kind of leave it loose in here for right now, and who knows, that might be how it ends up staying in the final. But we'll just leave it loose for now and just see if we like how it feels. Kind of gives it a rounded feel when I did that. Okay, so we'll just leave that for now. Let's go back and just tighten up, just finish up some of these parts. Just trying to get the edges just a little bit rougher. I usually don't like going so painterly on stuff. I like kind of more of a graphic shape, usually. So I'm trying to get a little bit of a graphicness to this. Let's just make these pop a little bit more. Okay. Okay. I don't know about this. It's kind of funny. It's grabbing too much attention. And this drawing is so whacked. I mean, look at what, you know, it's just whatever. It's just messed up. So, but you know, I'm not too concerned with that. Okay, so let's do some plaid now on Mr. Henry. Please, plaid. I guess that's how you spell plaid. This is something I started doing, and it takes a lot of time whenever I have a panel of him to do this, but I think the end result is worth it. I'm just using my lasso tool and making up the shape of the plaid on his shirt. And so I'm trying to like take into consideration these wrinkles and stuff like that. And I'll just go over the whole shirt. One direction of the plaid. And I'll try to just avoid other stuff, you know, like suspenders and stuff. And I'll try to make it a little bit forming the shape. Forming the shape. I'll try to make it kind of fit the shape of his cloth to folds and wrinkles. You know, I'm not going super crazy with it, but just enough so that you can see that I put a little thought into it. Not much thought, but a little bit. Now he looks like a clown, so I'll adjust this down. And then we'll do another layer. This one I've been finding luck with using this light blue and putting it on overlay. Now again, this is all stuff I'm just kind of, I've made up all these techniques for all of this stuff as I'm going, you know, so it's really an experiment at first, and then you refine it, and then you can kind of go a little bit faster like I'm going once you kind of realize what it is that you're going for and what you like and what you don't like. Excuse me, I keep hiccuping.